Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Road to Grandmaster series. This is my third tournament back in action, and it's currently the 7th round here in Italy. I've got 3.5 out of 6. It's been a bad tournament. It hasn't been a horrible tournament, but it's been a bad tournament. I lost the last round, so I'm down about 9 elo. I mean, it's not the end of the world, but it is what it is. But in this round, I think I just played my immortal game. This was one of the dumbest and most unbelievable games I've ever been a part of. And I sacrificed the rook. I sacrificed my queen. I sacrificed my coach's age. I mean, he probably just aged 10 years watching this. This is definitely the most fun game I've ever played. So let's just jump in. My opponent in this game was named Clendi Zanelli. Now, he and I actually spoke before the game. He sat down, and normally, you know, when you have 5 or 10 minutes before the game begins, you just kind of awkwardly sit there. I'm gonna grab some water. You awkwardly sit there, and you don't really. I don't even know if you guys can hear me. Yeah, you just kind of sit there and don't talk because chess players are, you know, antisocial, and we're getting in the zone and whatnot. But he was very chatty, and he was very nice. And although I couldn't tell if he was trying to employ psychological warfare, because he sat down at the board and he told me he saw my previous game where I lost. So I was like, damn, oh, it's like that? No, but I don't think that was his intention. Evian, water of the gods. So before the game, I saw he was he plays, I mean, a handful of different openings, but generally Queen's Gambit declined. So in this game, I went knight f3, and I saw he had one game where he played, actually earlier in this tournament, he had a game that went like this, which if you follow any of these recaps, you know, this might look familiar to you. That's because he literally played this, and so did I in my 5th round game. So we both had this exact same position with the same colors. He was black and I was white. And so I decided, you know what, this game I'm going to play just a pure ready. And I saw he had one game of g6, which is like one of the meta ways to play against the ready. It forces white to make the position symmetrical because black is trying to quickly play e5. So d4, and I noticed in some of his games, he really likes to play c6. He wants to not allow white to play c4. Because if he plays knight f6 and then I play c4, or, you know, now if he takes on c4, I play knight a3 and he cannot play b5. That's basically the point. By the way, I've never seen mosquitoes worse than here, ever. Like, and I have traveled to places all over the world. The mosquitoes in this little town in Italy are horrendous. Also, I just realized that technically the score has a spoiler? Technically? Just forget you saw that. Just forget. You probably know what the result is from the video title and the thumbnail. But just forget that you saw that, because I don't want to restart and I want to go have dinner. Anyway, the point is that he stops me from playing a very quick c4. Because if he had the pawn here, he would play b5. So what I did is I knew this was going to happen, and so I played a4, which is the meta way of playing because you stop b5. Now, he here can just play like normal. He can just castle and allow me to play a5. And then, you know, then I can play c4 or not. But he played a5 himself, and then here he took my pawn, which, okay, right? But now I can play knight a3 because the a pawn prevents b5. And we got here, and he started thinking. Now, I've never had this position in my life over the board, but this is, again, one of these things that I've been adding to the toolbox. I've been playing d4. Recently, I've played a lot more c4 and knight f3 systems with e3 and g3. So just being flexible, learning different structures, etc. And he played knight e4. Now, the idea of knight e4 is to play knight d6, okay? I had a think here. So my first idea was play queen b3 to play knight b6. And the reason I didn't go for this is I thought, first of all, if knight d6, knight b6, obviously. Then I was calculating bishop e6, queen b7, bishop c4, queen a8, and is my queen trapped? And I said, it's not because of knight e5. and I'm in time. I attack his bishop. Okay, he can take me, but then I'm going to take on e4, as well as rook e1. And then if bishop e5 and here, I always have bishop e3 ready to go. So my queen is never getting trapped. But I rejected this because of knight a6, and I realized I'm not actually threatening knight b6 because then he goes here. So now I've blocked my own attack on b7. That was kind of dumb. So then I thought, okay, well, what about queen c2, right? I'm going to push his knight out, and then I'm going to play for e4, or I'm going to play queen c2, b3, and then rook d1. Like, I'm going to try to take back on c4 with the pawn. So I played queen c2, and I played b3 pretty quickly. I'm sitting at the board, and I'm like, okay, I know he's going to play knight a6, knight b4. Maybe he's going to develop his bishop, etc. And I start thinking, what about bishop f5? Because it's kind of annoying. And it's annoying because if I move my queen into all of this, I thought he would simply play knight c4 and then c5. And I thought, well, this is really unpleasant. I mean, look at this. He's got 4 things pointing at my center pawn. So I didn't like this very much. So I was never going to put my queen on the same diagonal. The computer likes it. I didn't because I wanted to play bishop b2. So I played queen d2. I thought this move made sense. Again, the idea is that now if he plays all of this, then I play pawn to d5. And the position's quite nice here for me. I mean, I just have more space. He doesn't have a dark squared bishop. So I really wanted my queen to protect my bishop. Here he played a move which I thought was, during the game, I thought was just bad. But I didn't really, like, he played here. He just attacked my knight. And so if I really wanted to, I could make a draw right now. Like, he would have just repeated moves with me. A thought I had here was rook b1. Rook b1, rook b1. That song actually did go through my head during the game. The point is that if he plays knight c4, bc4, there's this. I rejected this because I thought the position here is just equal. It's not. I thought bishop a3, there is c5. Rook b5. What? Oh my god. Oh. Okay. I didn't see that. Queen g5. Woes. Yeah, I would have had to seen that back on move 13. Yeah. I mean, okay, but rook b1, he can also play bishop f5, at which point I have to play rook b2. I'm sorry, but like, I'm not an engine, you know? I mean, I can't play queen c2, queen b2, rook, like, it feels like I'm playing Tetris, you know, with my pieces. But, you know, admittedly, he went bishop f5, bishop e6, bishop f5. So it's like, we're both doing stupid things. So I went queen d3, which to me made more sense. It made more sense because if he attacks me, then I play queen e3. I thought queen d3 was a perfectly logical move. And then he went here. So my plan from a distance had been, okay, he's going to go here, right? I'm going to go bishop a3. He's going to go here. I'm going to take, and I'm going to play e4. Oops. I'm going to play e4 with a very big center. I have a nice position. The problem is here he has a very nice idea. He doesn't just play c5 and let me get a massive center. If he plays like this, I actually sack my rook in the corner and I have huge space. But what I didn't realize is he takes first and then he plays c5. Now I'm much worse. And I'm much worse because I'm going to lose this pawn. I'm simply going to lose the pawn. And I'm going to lose the game. So I was actually very annoyed. I was very, very annoyed. Here I had a very negative moment. When, you know, again, like it's what's been happening throughout this tournament. I've been getting quite unlucky with my calculations. Like I calculate pretty well, but then there's a moment of like a lapse, you know, and I was very upset. So right away I thought, oh, I've messed up. What am I doing? And then I thought, wait a minute, save the crying, you loser, and go knight d2. And on the one hand, I've given up a bishop for a knight, right? So I gave my opponent the bishop pair. On the other hand, I still have a Catalan-style bishop. I'm going to play rook c1. I mean, what are black's pieces really doing, you know? Like, knight f5, e3, 5 pawns on the dark squares. So here, I had a very negative moment, but as you can see, I spent 3 minutes. And I did that very deliberately. I wanted to maintain a time advantage, which is not something that I've done this event. And I wanted to... yeah, I kind of wanted to overcome my own negativity because I was very, very negative here, but I thought we were still battling. Here, I thought he would play c5, and I was ready to take. I was actually ready to give up my rook. I had another idea here, which is rook c1, which is an interesting move, making him take me. And after knight d4, I thought, oh, look at my Catalan bishop. I mean, I actually don't dislike my position at all. He went knight f5, and I did not understand why he did this, because this only helped me. Then he played c5, which again I didn't understand, because I was like, what about g4? Did he miss this move? Now, if he plays knight d6, we have the exact same position, except I have a pawn on g4, which can't really be exploited. And then I thought, well, if he goes knight h6, I just put his knight in jail. Like, I just thought his knight will not re-enter. Why did he just voluntarily trot the knight over here, right? Okay, the engine sees f5, which, you know, I saw this move, but I didn't understand how good it was. And it's just a complex game after something like this. But no, he went back. And he went pawn takes. I sacrificed my rook, right? I sacrificed my rook, and he went knight c8. Now, what's funny is I thought knight c8 made sense because very easy path. But it's actually knight e8, which is better, so that the knight, not to f6, but the knight can go to c7 and a6, or c7 and d5. I didn't understand that during the game. I thought he, you know, and again, he also played pretty quickly. He didn't want to spend more time here, getting into a deeper time hole. And here, I was very happy to have calculated which of these two forks is better, queen e4 or queen b5? Queen b5 attacks both pawns, and queen e4 attacks both pawns. And so I thought the position that we were going to get is this. So I thought, okay, if queen b5, bishop d5, queen b4, right? It's the same position. My original intention was to play queen b5. I rejected queen b5, and I rejected it correctly because I am good at chess, and I, you know, occasionally do stupid things, and I hold myself to a really high standard. I rejected this because queen a5. It's a really nice move. And if I play queen b7, he starts chasing my queen, and I'm not very comfortable here. So I thought, okay, queen e4, bishop d5, queen b4. So now I have a knight and two pawns for a rook. So material is equal. And now the plan is very simple. First, we drink a bunch of water, and we taste the minerals. Now, he played knight a7. This move is considered a mistake. I don't know. To me, I thought it was very natural. It's very tough to understand whether black should play queen c7 or knight a7. I don't know. I thought knight a7 made perfect sense. And so if I was playing a blitz game here, what I would do here without thinking at all is play queen c3, b4, b5. I would play queen c3. He would play queen c7. I would play b4. But maybe he can play b5. And so the reason I didn't just autopilot queen c3, queen c7, b4, b5 is I was like, well, if b4, b5, what am I doing? Because I don't want to do this. Now I'm blockaded. I don't want that. I mean, this might be a weakness. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe this is the best way to play. And you know, I know he wants to go knight c6 or something. And here I played a move I really regretted, and I had a feeling I would regret it during the game, but I only spent 3 minutes and 50 seconds here. And again, it's like the curse of two options in chess. I either spend too much time in chess, right? I spend too much time, I maybe do something inaccurate, or I play too quickly. And here, my goal was put the pressure on him because his position is moments away from collapsing. He's going to do something bad, down 20 minutes. I played e4. The reason this is a bad move actually is not because of what happened in the game, although in the game I thought it was what went wrong. It's because he can actually play here, which I completely didn't think he could do during the game. I thought I'd just take, and I was like, what? He's just losing material. Nope. Rook b8, queen a6, knight b4, and I thought here I can just like escape to e2. Apparently, this is equal. I mean, I didn't fathom that he could lose his entire queen side, and the position's equal. But I actually struggled to make a move here. But I mean, this is kind of insane. Like, and I guess g4 is hanging. Oh, that's why. And he always has knight c2 stuff. No, that's not even why. Okay, I mean, look, I didn't think knight c6 was going to happen because how can a human being lose his entire queen side, right? He went here. And now I played queen c3, which I thought was normal. He went queen c7. Now, the crazy thing is, this is called a mistake. Now, for a reason I can't explain, I didn't go b4 here. Oh, I guess b5. Yeah, the same b5. And I don't know, like I thought I was doing well here, but I didn't see an exact way. But yeah, maybe before was the way to go. But I was like scaring myself that he was gonna get his queen here, and then this is hanging, and now I have to defend it, and it's his move, so I can't make two moves in a row, and then I don't know. But the computer is completely unafraid. Computer is like, let's go, Catalan bishop, boy. Queen f4, yeah. Oh, yeah, okay. Anyway, I went here, so this is given a mistake. And here I did something really stupid. Oh, I did something really stupid, and I didn't know it was stupid until I got home and I analyzed this with the computer. So he played rook d8, right? So he has the threat. His threat is to take my knight, I take, he takes my other knight. So I had an idea here. Play f4, which defends the knight. I rejected f4 ultimately because I thought maybe he could play like b6. He could like counterattack me. He told me after the game he was going to go here, which is actually one of the best moves. Another great move here is f6, kicking out my knight. But my idea here in a nutshell was g5, takes, and knight g4. I wanted to play knight g4, knight h6. So the plan was f4, g5, knight g4, knight, like this. I can't do this now, obviously, because rook d2, queen e5. Except, what am I talking about? I can just go knight g4. So I saw g5, knight g4, but in my mind, I needed to play f4 because for some reason I was like, oh, I just take back on d2. I mean, I autopilot. Like, of course I'm taking, I mean, no. And now knight h6 is queen h8 is mate, and the rook is hanging. So if I play g5, if I found g5, I mean, the game is almost over. I don't even know what he does. I mean, maybe he has to play bishop d7, at which point I probably, I mean, even, I don't know if I would play knight c4 because then, you know, this is like hanging. Oh, knight f7 is brutal. Wow. Okay, yeah, I probably would have seen that in the game, but so I saw this, but I didn't see the immediate g5, knight g4. So I thought, okay, I'm just going to go here, and apparently here I lost all of my advantage. What I had to do was play knight df3, but I mean, I just thought this hangs a pawn, but I guess there's knight f7 again. Yep. And so I allowed the queen to go to f4, which, yeah, was dumb. And I mean, in the game, I thought maybe about this, but then f6. And then after knight d3, I think his position is not so bad. So I played knight c4. He went queen f4, which I thought was normal. I went h3, which I thought was normal. He played rook d7. And now I went here. And now the position's equal. I mean, in a nutshell, he wants to play rook d8 and double on the d file. And suddenly all his pieces are coming alive. What I have to play here is rook a2, anticipating this. And then I have to trade off his queen and double my pawns. I gotta tell you, doubling pawns was not really on my radar, but I understood that I need to at some point get rid of his queen. And here it's very tense. You'll notice he almost caught up on time as well. In fact, he kind of did, but I thought knight e3 made sense because I want to go knight here. That was my idea. And I thought he really should stop that. Like, I thought rook d8 doesn't really make any sense because after knight d5, bishop takes, pawn takes, rook takes, he could sacrifice, and maybe I play like knight f3, and I'm up a pawn. Now, the engine thinks it's equal. It thinks it's equal because black has sufficient counterplay against my king. He thought I could take here. I don't think so. But again, this is not an easy position for black. Like, black is still a pawn down. The engine says it's equal, but you don't have the engine during the game, and you're almost getting mated. So you would have to re-enter. I would go king g2, and okay, you're still a pawn down, but you have a lot of activity. Yes, you have a lot of activity. I was vaguely looking at stuff like that. Then he played this move, and a light bulb went off. And I thought, wait a minute, what about rook a2? I thought I was really smart. Because now, this knight, like let's say he goes, I don't know, h6. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go knight d5, and we have a much better version. We have a version where my rook is already protecting my knight, so I don't even have to do anything. And if he goes rook d3, which is what I thought was the best move, I just go queen a5. And I was like, my position's great. My position's great. His knight is horrible. I mean, I'm threatening a lot of different things, and I'm threatening knight d5. Now, the crazy thing here is black can still just go e6. And I cannot take the knight. But if I retreat, I thought, look how safe my king is. Now he just goes back to a8, and the computer is claiming that this is equal. But look at his rook and knight. He can't move either piece, and it's equal. So this is what I mean. Sometimes you watch the games, you see your favorite player lose their advantage, and it's like it doesn't even make sense. But my friends, this is not even the craziest part, because the craziest part is yet to come. He went rook d7. I went knight to d5, and I thought he's gonna lose the game. He's losing the game. What is he doing? I don't understand. I'm threatening the knight. He can't go knight c8 because I'm just crushing. And then he went here. And I was like, oh my God, what have I done? Now, here, there is something really unbelievable. So I thought I could play the only move here, really, because my knight is hanging. So if I play something like queen b6, he simply wins my knight. And rook d2, queen d2. If I take here, it's queen e1. It's probably rook d1, I don't know. But I lose. I mean, I can't do that. Queen a8 check, I thought during the game was fine, but it loses because king g7, knight f1, knight, let's say e5, c6, bc takes, knight f3, bishop f3, queen f3 pins the pawn to the queen, and then he wins the game and he wins my pawn. He basically plays like rook d6, and if rook c2, I'm losing all the pawns near my king. So queen a8 doesn't work. But you know what does work? This is the craziest thing I have ever played in my life. Now, during the game, I thought queen a8 was actually also okay. I did not realize that queen a8 is that losing. I took the knight. Some of you may be wondering, why can't you take the knight? I don't understand. Well, I can't take the knight because it's game over. Getting mated. Except in this position, I sacrificed my queen! I saw this over the board, and it leads to one of the stupidest looking endgames I have ever seen. Now, here I regret spending so much time, but the adrenaline, my heart started racing because I thought, what kind of idiot is going to lose his queen like this and potentially lose the game? And I knew I was better. And right, I'm thinking, am I really going to lose 2 games? I mean, this is all in. I mean, this is like final table in poker. Like so in a nutshell, my plan with white is to push these pawns. If black is going to defend himself, what I would do is I would give up one of the pawns. He would take it. Then I would push 2 pawns side by side with my bishop defending that pawn. Does that make sense? So again, I would push these pawns together, give up one of them, push the other, just make sure I'm not blundering a perpetual check. Now I thought, look, worst case scenario, this is a draw. I can't lose. I mean, he just cannot, get to me. Queen e1 is the only drawing move. And the way he draws this, according to the engine, is he goes here. What? Oh, he goes here. Oh, sorry. What am I? Sorry. I have to block with the bishop. Then he goes queen b4. Then I play c6. Then he has to play king f8. And now it's a draw. Because now what I play is I go here. And then he gives me check. King h2. And I actually can lose this game. Here's a nice way I can lose this game. I can lose if he is able to set up a dark squared blockade like this. Because now I lose all my pawns. So I knew that it hung on a knife's edge. He went here, and this is losing now. But again, I realized his idea was to play queen b8 and run the king. So for example, a5, queen b8, king g1, king f8. I can play a6, king here, and now I play b4, and now he's not in time, and he loses. I get all my pawns. Look at this position. Look at this. I mean, have you ever seen something like this? This is insanity. Insanity. But I thought I need to start with the b pawn, which is so dumb, which really is really stupid. It's really stupid. I'm very upset because if I played a5, this would have been the perfect. This would have been an unbelievable game. a5 is the point. Again, he has some ridiculous ways of drawing, but a5 makes sense. And only when he starts bringing the king should I move my b pawn. But I skipped a step. And my step that I skipped was he's going to bring his king. So I need to play b4. I hate myself for not playing a5. I mean, because if I played a5, I'm actually threatening to queen. Like, I'm actually creating a threat. And at that point, you know, he probably needs to I don't know what he has to do. He probably has to, like, try to give me perpetual check. But it's hopeless, right? It's hopeless. Oh, but stupid Gotham played b4. And now he played a great move. I didn't realize one thing he can do in this position. I completely didn't realize he can use his pawns. And I only thought about the queen, but his pawns are in time. And you think, what are his pawns in time to do? You just play a5. What are they doing? Now, what they're doing is they're opening up my king. So now my king will have less shelter, increasing the probability he will give me perpetual check. In this position, I calculated a6, gh, and even c6. And this is a draw. Can you imagine? This is a freaking draw. What the I thought I was maybe losing, but it's a draw because it's perpetual check. Like, what? This doesn't look real. This looks like a chess position you see in a dream. It's a draw because he cannot take any of my pawns. But I went here because I thought it's logical, and now he played a move which I thought was good. And again, right here, I just pushed because I thought queen e1, right? Now, here, I thought it made sense to run my king because what I had seen is if king h2 and he takes my pawn, what I would play here is something like a7, and I win because he gives me check. Now he has no more checks. Now he has no more checks. So when I saw that line, I thought, oh, king h2 is winning. However, maybe queen e5, I can even play bishop f3, although bishop f3 is draw-ish because of some unbelievable lines like h5, a6, hg, a7, and queen e1 is actually a nice way to lose maybe with white. But what wins here is a6, here, bishop f1. I lose this pawn. I didn't like this because I thought, wait a minute, he's threatening this and this. This is lost for this. This is not a winning. It is winning. Bishop e2. And he can't take my pawn. He can't take with check. He can play queen b1. Now he has no checks because after this, I have this. And then I start pushing again. So the only move after bishop to e2 is h5, again trying to open up my king, c6, queen b1. Now I reblock with the bishop. He goes queen b6, and I re-go to g2. He plays queen b1 and now king h2, and still anything I push, I might get checked. It's insane. It's just one of the craziest games I've ever been a part of. And what happened in the game is I went down all my time, and I played a move with almost no time on the clock. Here he can draw with queen c3, which is insanity because I thought I can just play here. But takes c6 is apparently still a draw. He went here, which apparently is a mistake because of bishop f3. I don't even understand how, but whatever. I had like no time. a7, and now it's a draw. It's a draw. But he has to go here, queen d5. Look. So he cannot take my bishop because my pawn's queen. Queen b3, king f4, queen b4, bishop e4. Now he has to find g5, king e5, queen b2, king e6, queen a2, king e7, queen a7, and apparently this position is somehow still a draw. Just, what? Instead, he went here, and we both thought he was losing, but this is actually the losing move. I thought queen e1 is, I just run my king forward, but he has queen e6. And here, queen e3, is a draw. So apparently Queen E1, but I mean, I'm still gonna run my king all the way. The same. Wait, now he's. Oh my god, this is. I mean, this is just ridiculous. But he let me go here, and this is just losing. And on the 52nd move of the game, after I escaped the checks and my pawns queened, he resigned. I mean, my friends, I sacrificed the rook, I sacrificed the queen. There is literally nothing more I can do to create content for all of you. I do wish that when the opening worked out well and I was playing well and I got a nice position, you know, I really wish that from here I won with no BS. I mean, this was a very nice position. This, up until this point, 22 moves of this game, I played like a GM. I really did. Then, you know, even here I would argue, but if I play G5, the game ends in probably 7 to 10 moves. But allowing all of this crazy stuff was not good. And, you know, going for this endgame and winning it like this is my style. Now I just have to combine the GM style with this style, because clearly I'm capable of some absurdly but beautiful things too. So we have 4.5 out of 7. In the next round, I'm playing a 2300 rated kid from Azerbaijan, maybe teenager. I don't know. I don't know if he's like 5 or 30 or whatever, but what a game. Thanks to my opponent. I mean, that was incredible stuff, and that's all I have for you today. Courses are 33% off if you still feel like trying them out. Get out of here.